Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yo, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Brian Hewitt.
Welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're broadcasting from the Beer Guys Radio Studios in Marietta, Georgia. And this week we're talking Christmas beers and the Great Georgia Brewery Tour. With me, as always, is the man who gave up a successful mumble rap career to co-host the show, Brian Hewitt.
Yes, it was a trying time. It's nice to see you, Tim.
Good to see you.
Even though I won't be mumble rapping, we will be talking about a whole lot of festive Christmas beers and winter warmers. We also have Tim Cailloux joining us in the studio. Tim is the winner of our Catlanta charity auction to benefit the Giving Kitchen. Tim, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I'm pleased to be here.
Tim's our hero.
He is.
He's a hero to the cause to craft beer and good charity and good art.
He is indeed. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing
How was
well.
your week, man?
Busy. It was very beery. A lot of beer. A lot of man, I don't even know where to start. A condo party where I drank a bunch of Christmas beers.
Take a deep breath and then
Oh, man.
That's right, the condo Christmas party.
Yeah, I did that. Drank some Christmas beers in anticipation of doing a Christmas show, so I loaded up for that. We did Orpheus.
We did hit Orpheus. I hadn't been there in a while.
Yeah.
A lot of nice sour beers, IPA stouts. My favorite was the Abandon All Hope. That was the double barrel
The
sample.
double barrel. So yeah, the double barrel vanilla Abandon All Hope was wonderful. There was also the Ferryman, which is very, very coffee forward, which I enjoyed.
Very.
And together, they came
That
and formed
was good.
an amazingly
Yes.
good cuvee. Yes.
You know what? You're right. So the Ferryman is very coffee forward if you like big coffee beers, and those released just earlier this week in cans. And too much coffee for me, I'll be honest. So if you're a person that you can go over the top, which is not Brian Hewitt, that's not going to happen with Brian Hewitt. But
never.
But the mix of those two I really enjoyed.
How about that
Absolutely.
Grisette, though?
The Grisette was nice. And that was Spectre Brewing Arts, is that?
I think that's right.
Scepter. Scepter Brewing Arts, which is going to be what used to be Oak Brew Pub.
Yep.
And was purchased by the crew that owns Argosy, a nice beer bar here in Atlanta, and will become Scepter Brewing Arts.
So that was a collaboration called The Palace in Your Head.
Yeah,
I like
that
the
was
name
really
of it.
good.
They also had Yesternow, which I enjoy, and they had the After the Last Death, which is a currant and cherry sour, and that was excellent. I really liked it.
Tasty. We went up to Johns Creek, Georgia, and checked out a brewery as yet to be open, Six Bridges. Went up there and sampled some of their beers. Had a good time at that. And the big thing for us, Brian, this week.
Did we do anything big this week?
We had a big accomplishment this week that we've been talking about all year. We just couldn't get over it. So we made our final stop on visiting every brewery in the state of Georgia.
We did.
So
you know, it was such a big deal that the earth shook, Tim.
It did, didn't it?
It did.
It took a few hours, but the earth did shake here.
And it didn't quite hit Marietta like it should have. It hit, I believe, Decatur, Tennessee, but that's only about 135 miles away, so it was pretty close.
I did see a few people that said they felt it here in Atlanta. I think it was a 4.4.
4.4.
For those that are totally confused, we had an earthquake.
Yes.
In the southeast, centered in Tennessee, but hit us here in Georgia too. And some people that were up at that very early hour, either still up or getting up, felt it. I did not. I was asleep.
I mean, I was totally responsible, not at all up, sipping a beer and working on show notes. So I would not have felt it shake my building and feel like I was losing grip of reality and possibly finally dying. Other than that,
none of that happened.
I was totally asleep. Yeah.
Tim, did you feel it?
I was soundly asleep,
Right.
enjoying my dreams.
See,
so
there you go.
nothing.
That's what. How about you, Smalls?
Nope, didn't feel a thing. I was up at that hour, but I did not feel a thing.
Crazy. Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Well, I'm glad that I slept on through it there. Tim, anything interesting or exciting for you this week?
That's a great question. Really not much going on with me. Makes for exciting radio, I'm sure, to hear.
You know
that
what?
there's
There is nothing wrong at all with a good chill week. Those
Did you
don't come
drink
off.
any beer?
I did drink some beer. I had a glass of yeast at a restaurant before showing up to the studio.
Delicious.
That was a true highlight, so that was left on the table.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the winter season. The weather is finally cold here.
Yeah.
So I feel like the heavier beers have a time to come out now.
So the good news
it's
is
drinking season.
It is, yes. It's finally drinking season. The good news is now your body produces its own beer thanks to all the yeast you ingested. So you'll be great. Yeah.
Smalls, how about you? Anything exciting?
I cracked open some homebrew this
Okay,
weekend.
you brought some to share,
and I did
right?
bring some to share
Okay.
so you can critique it and trash it.
All right.
The way you like
We're
to
looking
do.
forward to that.
Yeah. and just kind of clearing out the beer cellar since I'm actually home now. So I've been going through Monday night stuff and Orpheus. And that's why I was asking if you had any of those bottles left so I can replenish the stock.
You got in trouble from your doctor because he listens to the show.
Yes.
Right? And he knows that you've been running around drinking beer and not using your knee scooter.
Yeah, he called me out on that today in my appointment. He's like, I didn't see that scooter. And I'm like, it was not there in the picture. It was outside the frame. It was totally there.
Well, Small's doctor, I can tell you that she wheeled into the studio on her knee scooter.
She
today.
did.
So
Shout out to Becky's.
Yeah, Dr. Raphael.
Okay.
I have the scooter.
There you
it's
go,
here.
doctor. And using it. Yes,
using
absolutely.
You know, Tim, I think it's time for Truck and Tap's Beers of the Week.
Crack open a cold one. It's the Truck and Tap Beer of the Week. Woo-hoo! Craft beer and food trucks in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com.
Well, Brian, it is all about Christmas beers this week. As we said, we've got 12 beers that we're going to drink, the 12 beers of Christmas.
Yes.
And we're going to do this kind of like we did our Oktoberfest show, where we're going to drink through all 12 of these, little samples of each, try them out. And in the fourth segment, we're going to list our favorites. We'll give our top 3 or 4 or so to see if we come together on that. So we'll talk about these more as we go into it. But some that we're going to drink is Delirium Noël. We've got Gouden Carolus Christmas Noël beer. We have St. Bernardus Christmas Ale, Samichlaus Classic, Rogue Santa's Private Reserve, Corsendonk Christmas Ale, Samuel Smith Winter Welcome, Hardywood Park Gingerbread Stout, and one of my used-to-be favorites, Brian, Highland Cold Mountain. And those are the ones we're going to get into. I also have a Prairie Christmas Bomb. And, Becky, you brought a barrel of Monk's Father Christmas?
Yeah, Father Christmas from last year.
Okay. So that's what we're going to get into. So, Brian, why don't you tell us what's happening in the news?
What's in the news? The beer guys have the scoop.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines.
Okay, we have an update on the charitable Sierra Nevada Resilience IPA thing. There are now 1,374 breweries and brew pubs brewing it for the California Wildlife Relief Fund. So I like everything about this story, but the geek in me loves that they put all the breweries in a Google spreadsheet so I can do things like tell you that there are 341 California breweries, and that's 25% of the total numbers brewing it. I went through all of our affiliate states, and maybe not surprisingly, Oregon was the top with 68 breweries, around 5% of the total. Pennsylvania, surprisingly, followed them with 60, beating out Washington at 55. Florida beat us out with 63. We are currently sitting at 17, which is a mere 1.2%, but 20% of total Georgia breweries, so not a bad showing.
Right.
All right, so the Brewers Association sent out an email this week taking a look back at the year in beer, neat little infographic, and there are a few highlights in it. So it's a shifting landscape, as we know, but small and independent craft breweries are continuing to, find success. It's stable and steady growth. It was 5% at the first half of the year. It's going to be a little less than that in the second half, but the industry will hit a new high in 2018. The craft beer market share is more than $76 billion. It's responsible for 500,000 jobs, and 135,000 of those directly at breweries and brew pubs. Of course, 7,000 breweries and counting as of the end of October, but they're still tabulating that, so we don't know how many are exactly going to be, but they're anticipating 1,000 openings by the end of 2018. Let's see.
Wait. Hold on, 1,000 openings since when?
Since the beginning of the year,
for
I think.
2018.
Yeah,
okay.
I think for 2018, yeah. So 4,000 breweries have adopted the Independent Craft Brewer seal. And the big thing I think that Tim will find interesting with his hyper-local theories and trends is 85% of adults live within 10 miles of a brewery now.
There you go. Drink local, man.
Yep,
That's how it works.
So I've seen this news pop up all over the place. Cheers and Frasier star Kelsey Grammer has gotten into the beer business. His brand is named Faith American Brewing, and his first beer is Faith American Ale, and it's officially on the market in upstate New York. It's a light and crisp, slightly hoppy golden ale. The company is based in Margaretville, New York, and the actor is apparently in the process of converting a former dairy farm, which he owns and has owned for like 20 years, into an actual brewery. So we don't know where it's being made, but we do know that it was a pilot batch of it was brewed back in 2017 at Schmaltz Brewing. But, of course, Schmaltz sold their brewery, and they have their beers contract brewed. So we're really not sure, what to make of it. But he is showing up at bars that serve his beer. So
we should see if we can get Fraser on the show.
I was thinking that beer. Exactly, yes.
We'll see. Smalls, can you get on that? Can you hunt down Fraser? Okay,
yep.
Cool. Well, awesome. We need to take a quick break. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We'll be back very soon to talk about Christmas beers.
We are Reformation Brewery, celebrating the reformer in you. Locally crafted within the renowned Etowah watershed of Woodstock, Georgia, Reformation creates yeast-forward brews full of aroma and flavor crafted to last. Come see us in beautiful Woodstock, Georgia, for a tour and tasting of unique brews that you can't find anywhere else. Reformation Brewery. Set beer free. ReformationBrewery.com.
Are you thinking about opening a brewery in the Atlanta area? If so, take a look at the Park at Georgetown. This unique community will feature a collection of restaurants as well as a craft brewery within the new J.W. Holmes luxury development, Dunwoody Green. Conveniently located less than half a mile from I-285, this enclave of restaurants will be the gathering place in Dunwoody. Krim & Associates, the developer of the Park at Georgetown, wants to talk to you. For more information, call Todd Semrau at 404-226-6526.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Next Friday is Hawaiian Shirt Day. So, if you want to, go ahead and wear a Hawaiian shirt and jeans.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
And welcome back to Beer Guys Radio Show. If you miss an episode, don't worry. All episodes are available as a podcast. Subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and never miss a show. In the spirit of the season, we're talking Christmas beers this week.
Brian, we've had a few already.
We've
tried a few because we have to drink 12 through the course of the show so we can give our review. We haven't done well so far. We haven't had a lot of luck here. And one of them is one that is one of my favorites from the past.
Yep.
So Highland Cold Mountain, which is normally a favorite of mine. I think we got a bad bottle, Brian.
I think so. I think that beautiful cobalt blue is really bad at keeping UV out, and as such, the hops have gone funky.
We had some skunk going on there. That didn't taste right. And then we got into Samuel Smith, which really isn't that bad. It's a lighter beer. Their winter welcome, which is just a light, kind of a Christmassy drinking beer. And then we had Rogue. Brian, what is that behemoth called over there?
It's a Rogue Santa's Private Reserve Ale. It's a Belgian-style dark ale with tangerines and boysenberries.
Now, you know that I don't like to be overtly critical of a beer if it has any redeeming qualities, correct?
Yeah, I'll buy that.
I hate this beer. This is awful. It's like boiled cabbage and fruit. It's very bad. I did not care for it at all.
I would recommend if you have a bottle of this, drink it very cold very quickly because it really...
Or not at all is also an option. I'm just saying. So what's everyone else think? What on the few we've tried so far?
I'm going with the Barrel of Monks. That one's been the best so far, but yeah.
We're just getting into that one, so I have to see. What'd you think of the Rogue one?
No, that's one I would give to somebody I don't quite care for, but I had to buy them a present.
Okay. There you go. That's horrible of you, but I understand.
That's me.
Yeah.
So it's like a fruitcake.
Essentially,
the fruitcake of beer.
Yes, the fruitcake of beer.
I mean, you could use that bottle as a doorstop. That's heavy when it's full of liquids, so that would work. The interesting thing about that is it changes every year, and in the past, it's actually won, like 11 awards. So various recipes have turned out well. This is not one of them.
No. There's something off flavors, heavy off flavors in there, big boiled cabbage and that. It's just not very good. Tim, what's been the winner for you so far?
The Barrel of Monks.
It's pretty tasty.
Smelling it.
Yeah, we're just getting to that. That's a good one.
More and more gingerbread cookies. Mm-hmm. It is like grandma's kitchen.
Yeah, it's a really big cookie, kind of like I'm trying to put my... It's not quite cranberries or something like that.
I'm getting like cinnamon.
Yeah, for sure.
Cloves?
Cloves, yeah.
Cinnamon, cloves, ginger, fruit. Y'all are describing fruitcake here, aren't you?
I was thinking that
good,
actually. This is the good version of fruitcake. This isn't the one that gets passed out around at what do they call white elephant, pink elephant parties?
White elephant.
Yeah, where you give really bad gag gifts to people in the same
pink
fruitcake
party. That's what we're gonna have by the end of the show.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, that's Delirium Tremens, right?
Yeah. Well, Brian, when you think of Christmas beers, what makes a good Christmas beer to you?
I think it really needs to. Well, I think it has to warm you up, and I think it needs to be spices and malt and kind of heaviness. I think that the Barrel of Monks is a really good example right here of what I would think of as a Christmas beer. It's got the spices in it. it's not. I think it's a little warming. It's thick. It's very comforting. So I think that's key. I'm not sure if it needs to necessarily be like a Belgian style, but I think a lot of times it is. And I'm not clear to me why so many Christmas beers kind of trended to Belgian, except maybe that, kind of those fruity, jammy qualities. Maybe
the spicy flavors give way or lend themselves well to the Belgian style.
And that's a good point. The Belgian yeast have the phenolics that they give off. So, I mean, you're going to get your clove from that yeast potentially from brewing it. So I guess it makes a lot of sense. I never really thought about it, Tim, honestly.
Right. Well, now you have. You're answering the questions you didn't know you needed to ask.
That's right. You were saying earlier, what is your favorite Christmas beer?
So Cold Mountain's always been one that I look forward to at that time of the season. When we get into the wintry ones, I don't know that I've ever really explored Christmas beers directly that much in the past until we talked about kind of getting together for this. I just kind of had them as they came along. And if I was to pick one that I enjoyed around Christmas time, I always loved the Cold Mountain. I always look forward to that one. So I'm disappointed. I was very excited that we opened that one first. I was very excited to get into it. So that was one of my favorites, up until 15 minutes ago.
Yes. I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that because I know it comes out in, I think, just the regular brown bottles. It might even be cans now. I'm not sure. They have an entire crazy thing about that is they have an entire release weekend for it. People line up for, early before the place even opens. It sells out. They got all the variants. There's actually an imperial or a double version of Cold Mountain, which
I think that's brewery only, isn't it?
I think so.
I'd like to try that.
Yeah, they do bottle it, so it's properly bottled in I think 22s. So it's But in terms of my favorites, that's one of mine. But the one I think that's nostalgic anyway is not even. It's not, like a quad or any of these winter warmers. It's actually a Doppelbock. It's that Samichlaus.
The Samichlaus.
That was one of the first really big beers I ever had here in Georgia, and I was in love with it. It's just It's wonderful.
We asked some of our friends on social media what their favorite Christmas beers were before this, and Sierra Nevada's Celebration got quite a few mentions. Also, Jolly Pumpkin's Noël de Calabaza was another one, and Scaldus Noël was another that got mentioned.
Yeah. I went looking for that one. I did not spy it, but it's really good. Who does a Nice Schoof or do you know what
the Le Schoof Christmas beer? Yes.
Yeah, that's a really, really solid one. I was a favorite of mine for a while too. Really like that one.
Well, Tim, how about you? Do you have a favorite Christmas beer?
It's not maybe the most interesting in the world, but for me it's the Sweetwater.
Okay,
because
the festive?
That was the first real seasonal beer that I had in Atlanta. And so, that brings back memories more than anything else, which is, I think, to me, what Christmas beer should be about.
Absolutely.
They should remind you of something. And so for me, that's the Sweetwater Festive.
You just reminded me that I'm disappointed that we don't have a festive with us here tonight and that I haven't got any of this year's release.
I haven't either.
Because that's another one that I really enjoy.
Yeah, that's a really good one. When it comes to this time of year, I actually liked Happy Ending more, and it's not even meant to be a Christmas beer, but I think I kind of like that more. But it's in the vein of the Anchor Christmas beer that I'm quite fond of. I had some of that at a recent holiday
party. At the condo party, right?
At the condo party, yeah. It was nice.
Brian, you've got a ton of info here on all of these beers that we've got. So why don't we back up and just give folks a little more info on a couple of these. The Cold Mountain, which again is one I generally love, did not deliver for us this year very well, but tell us a little bit about Cold Mountain.
So of all the Christmas beers that we are opening up today, it's going to be the lightest. It's at 5.8%, so it's actually pretty sessionable. It was first brewed in 1996, and the spice blend changes every year. So as I mentioned before, there's a weekend event, a lot of variants. It was like 10, I think there was 10 different versions. I might be getting that confused with another one. There were a number of different versions. And, there's a dedicated Twitter account to finding Cold Mountain. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
A Cold Mountain tracker. It's quite a big deal in terms of beer.
I knew that I loved it, Brian, but I didn't know that others were into it that much. Very cool to hear. So how about that Rogue beer that we all love so much?
So as with the other one, the adjuncts of that change every year. So it was tangerines and boysenberries this year. Last year, I think it was better received with raspberries and cherries. And honestly, when I saw that, I was a little jealous. I'm like, can I have the old one?
Raspberry cherry.
Yeah, even before tasting it. Some versions have been brewed with hops and barley that's actually grown at the facility itself or their farm, the Rogue Farm. I believe all of them include some sort of coastal water, which Honestly, when I tasted it, maybe it's psychosomatic or something like that, but I could swear I tasted a little bit of sea brine in there.
A little briny.
Yeah.
Well, they probably want that if they're boiling cabbage.
Yeah.
So.
Sure. Yeah. So in the bottle has changed from what I remember. It used to have glow-in-the-dark snowflakes on it, too, which was kind of a neat
That sounds
thing.
kind of neat.
Yeah.
They've got creative with a few of their bottles.
And first brewed in 2001, so this is 17th, 18th version of it. I guess if it was 2001, it would be the 18th.
Have you tried previous iterations of that?
I have. Okay. It's kind of one that's always seems like it's around, around this time of year, anytime there's Christmas
And that's
beers,
from your neck of the hood.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. I've been there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick break. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We'll be back very soon to talk more Christmas beers.
Craft beer forged with a reverence for tradition and new styles that start a revolution. Ironmonger Brewing. The brewers at Ironmonger Brewing pride themselves at being masters of barrel-aged, hoppy, and sour beers. They invite you to their tap room in Marietta, Georgia to taste and see. Also visit their barrel room for an intimate drinking experience with great live entertainment. Keep up to date on all things Ironmonger by liking them on Facebook. Ironmonger Brewing, establishing a new standard in craft beer.
Looking for a great way to promote your business? Cedar Stream has what you need. For apparel, stickers, signs, and banners, we're your one-stop shop. There are never any art fees or setup fees. And if you need your items quickly, there's no additional charge for rush orders. Whether you own a brewery, bar, bottle shop, or other business, Cedar Stream is ready to serve you. Visit cedarstream.com for more info or call 800-686-7488 for immediate assistance. Cedar Stream. We print America.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Your revolution is over, Mr. Lebowski. Condolences, the bomb's lost.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout-out to one of our great radio affiliates, WNAE 96.7 FM in Warren, Pennsylvania. Catch Beer Guys Radio on WNAE every Saturday at 1 a.m. Eastern. Now we're back to some Christmas beers.
Christmas beers, Brian. So we have had 4 more beers.
We have.
That we've been sipping on here. And we're doing better than we did in the first round, Brian. We're having better results out of the beers that we're getting.
There's an improvement.
Right?
Or the buzz is coming on, one of the two.
One of the two.
Also,
a little column A, a little column B.
That's right. The ABVs are climbing, too. So I think that is insulating us. Yes.
Yeah. So we are drinking, for those that think we're just getting absolutely schnockered here, we may get a little beer buzz, but we are having little taster glasses.
Yeah.
We know we got a ton of big beers. There's way too much. We're sharing them around with the good folks here at Ironmonger Brewing, and we're sipping them ourselves. But we have had a local Atlanta favorite, Brian, 3 Taverns Feast Noël, and I think you said this is vintage 2015.
2015, yeah. I realized that I didn't have one when I went out picking up all these beers, but I did have one at home, and it turns out it was a 2015.
Okay. And then we were having, if I say it correctly, Gouden Carolus.
Yes.
A little sipped on a little Belgian beer. We had the Corsendonk Christmas Ale, and we just got done sipping on some Delirium Noël.
Yes.
It's got that pink elephant that you were looking for earlier.
That's
Brian.
right, the pink elephant party. That was one of those things. I think my parents or something used to do those. They get together where people actually got together and talked instead of doing things with their phone.
That
and they
sounds
exchanged
weird.
gifts. It's very, very strange. But I think the pink elephant party sounds a lot better.
The pink elephant.
Yes.
Not at our party, Becky. Not at our party.
No, I have the pink one.
Not
That's
at all.
fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I told you about the time I was on an airplane and there was a Delirium sticker on the side of the plane. I was like, yes, I feel safe on this flight. Let's go.
Like official airplane logo thing, or
no? Somebody slapped a sticker on the side of the plane underneath the Delta stuff, and I was like,
All
yes,
right.
let's roll. And I pointed out to the flight attendants, like, oh, we didn't even see this.
You fly a lot, and you have Beer Guys stickers, don't you?
I do.
We need to start flying the friendly skies, Becky.
I will make it happen.
Okay. All right. Delta, if you're listening, everyone at Delta, I'm sure the Delta CEO right now is like, all right, watch out for that Becky
Great,
Smalls.
I've been blacklisted now.
Sorry, Smalls.
He's
Sorry.
probably actually putting the sticker on himself. I'm like, I might as well save him the trouble.
Just put it on there. We get our Hop Radio logo on the tail Telf in there?
That'd be wonderful.
That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
It would be
we'll
cool to
talk
have a
the-
BGR
I know people at the
Okay,
airport.
good. Thanks. We're going to make that happen. Absolutely. Well, what have y'all thought? The last 4 that we've had. What have you enjoyed? Tim, how about you?
All of the above. This is a very great round of solid Belgian beers and 3 taverns. And I liked the licorice flavor that we had in the Golden Carolus. That was really nice. We got some nice warmth out of there. And it's kind of a toss-up for me between the other 2 Belgians in here. They're both just really nice, warm, malty, fruity, jammy kind of flavors.
I think the Golden Carolus probably gets it for me. It was a little fuller bodied than the other ones. Just a little more oomph to that spoke Christmas to me just a little bit more. But all of them very fine. And I will say the Feast Noël, the vintage on this one, I think the spices are fading. 2015 vintage.
Yeah.
So I've had this beer fresh every year that it's came out. And definitely you can tell that it's a few years old. The spices are
you can taste
fading
it.
off on it
It's
a
still
little bit.
very good,
It's
though.
still quite good.
It's still very good.
Absolutely.
You know, that licorice flavor, I really keyed in on that. I really like it, and I think that's a polarizing thing. I think that if you don't like black licorice, you're probably not going to enjoy that. I wouldn't think so.
It's not overpowering, though, I should say, because I don't like black licorice, but you get it on the nose. Well, a tradition. So my mom's side of the family is Italian, so they make pizzelles. And pizzelles traditionally have the anise flavor, which is black licorice, and my mother hates them because she does not like the smell of black licorice.
Okay.
So I don't care for it either, but it's not overpowering. It balances the beer. It's good.
See, you ruined me having a smart mouth comment to Brian by saying
Thank you, Becky. Thank you.
Saying
that's what I'm here for.
Well, see, you said a little bit of flavor. It's not over. I don't like it because Brian said, well, if you don't like black licorice, you're not going to like that. And I was going to, if you don't like black licorice, you won't like that flavor. Is that what you're saying? But Becky just justified that. She was there for you, Brian.
I'm imagining a SpongeBob meme I'd like to show you for your
memes.
comments.
Well, thankfully, this is radio, and we can't
imagine that
memes.
meme. It's appropriate. You know, the interesting thing about the Corsendonk Christmas Ale, and I never could figure out exactly why this is, but it is sold as King's Blue in Norway.
Okay.
I could not figure out for the life of me why that is. I have no idea.
You couldn't find, still no idea, huh?
No, I looked for it. It's weird, but that's in one country, it's King's Blue, and it's not Corsendonk Christmas Ale.
Do you think Norway also has Van de Kaiser Blau?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't look into that. It could. I
don't know.
Yeah,
Who knows, man? Maybe have both of them there. But yeah, this was a good round. These were tasty beers, very much so. Like we said, 3 Belgians in a Belgian style. And we were talking a little more, Brian, about, Belgians and Christmas ales. A lot of people do Christmas beers that are not Belgian, but man, I really like the Belgian style beers at Christmas.
Yeah. The big fruity notes. They're very dense. They're heavy. They're sweet. And you get the phenolics from the yeast. It makes more sense the more I drink it. Yeah,
it just works. Well, Brian, speaking of beers and that, you actually did some research and found some interesting things about Christmas beers, and actually a pretty cool festival of Christmas beer, right?
Yeah, that's right. So when people are hearing this, it's actually going to be the Cursed Beer Festival in Belgium. It's a really big deal. The 15th and the 16th of December. It's going to be like 200 different Christmas beers, and I don't even think they're all just Belgians, but a variety of that, and a variety of mulled ales, which is something else I looked into. Yeah, so people have heard of mulled wine, but I don't think they've realized that you can mull an ale. So, and there's a lot of varieties. One of my personal favorites is the Glühkriek, which I heard about because Cascade does that every year. They take their creek, they warm it up, they mix in honey and some spices, and they serve it up warm. And you know what? It's actually really surprisingly good.
You did that a couple times last year, didn't you? Yeah.
I did do
Smalls,
it.
Did you get
times.
to try it? I think I tried it over at Brian's
I didn't
once.
get to try it then.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Oh. Well,
Where was my invite?
It's in the mail right now.
Yeah.
It'll get there eventually. It's the Atlanta mail system. It'll get there someday, one of these days. So, I mean, to do it yourself, you really just need a bottle of a creek, and there are actually some varieties of creeks around that are sweetened, like I think Lindemans and Timmermans or something like that. They actually make a sweeter version of creek that's meant to be warmed up and turned into a mulled beer. I just added I think it was a half a cup of honey, sliced up an orange, put it in there, and I put in a couple of cloves, a cinnamon stick, and I actually used a mulling spice bag, a tea bag, so I kind of cheated. You warm it up to a drinking temperature, whatever you like, 140, 150 degrees, and just serve it that way. And it's extremely good. You wouldn't expect it even from a Cascade Creek, which is a pretty sour style of beer. With all that in it, it becomes a marvelous, completely different drink. It's wonderful.
You mean, you toss a bunch of honey in there, it's going to cut that sour some, yeah.
Add a bunch of
Tim,
spices.
you ever had a hot beer?
No, I've never had a hot beer, but I'm going to steal Brian's notes and figure out how to do that for this weekend.
It's interesting. And we heard something, what's the term, roaring a beer?
Roaring a beer, I thought about that.
Have you tried that yet?
I haven't done it yet. Where you take an old farmhouse or an old IPA, and I think you throw it like quickly onto an extremely hot pan, and it's supposed to supposedly bring it back to life, turn it from being an old oxidized beer into being something that's very drinkable.
Yeah, we'll have to try that one time and see what happens with it, because I mean, I got to be honest that the idea of hot beers still do not appeal to me overall, and I thought that Glühkriek was fairly decent, but what my beer cold, cellar temperatures at least. Have you tried any of the other hot beer cocktails?
I haven't yet, but I am planning on doing just the standard mulled beer. And there's a thing called a flip where you mix an egg into it. And apparently it takes its name from, it's just a mulled beer with your sweetener, your spices. And what you do is you throw it back and forth between pitchers until the egg becomes creamy, it gets a nice froth to it. It was a big deal back in like the 19th and 18th century. It was something that everybody drank.
People weren't very smart back then. I'm just saying. What should we put in this beer? Well, let's make it hot and put an egg in it. There was drinking involved in coming up with that
And
recipe.
we haven't even talked about wassail, which is like that, except they put bread in it, too. They actually top the beer with the bread.
That's absolutely insane, and we have to take a break. We may or may not talk about wassail when we get back, but you're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We'll be back very soon to talk more about Christmas beers.
Craft beer forged with a reverence for tradition and new styles that start a revolution. Ironmonger Brewing. The brewers at Ironmonger Brewing pride themselves at being masters of barrel-aged, hoppy, and sour beers. They invite you to their tap room in Marietta, Georgia to taste and see. Also visit their barrel room for an intimate drinking experience with great live entertainment. Keep up to date on all things Ironmonger by liking them on Facebook. Ironmonger Brewing, establishing a new standard in craft beer.
It's Brian and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock and Alpharetta are always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy, Brian. They've got 18 of them.
As for the truck part, that's where it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks daily, so that way you're getting a different menu every day.
Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock, Alpharetta, and coming soon to Duluth in 2018. Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
The Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
Shake it back!
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys. Patrons can get some cool perks like Beer Guys swag and commercial-free episodes. Now back to some festive beer talk.
Before break, we were talking about, of all things, Brian, hot beer drinks.
We were talking about hot beer drinks, yeah.
And, you know, we got a lot to cover in this fourth segment, but I do want to hear a little bit about wassail. Is there a song about going wassailing?
Yes, here we go, wassailing. So the historically poor carolers would sing outside of houses of rich people hoping to get a cup of wassail. And wassail was a beverage that they cooked up by... My understanding is they added sugar to a bowl, they added warm beer, nutmeg, ginger, and cinnamon, let it sit for several hours, and then they heated it up and put slices of toast on top of it.
So people went around singing for a cup of hot beer.
They basically did, yes.
Well, you know, I want to just throw out here that during the break, I attempted to sing to entertain my co-host here, and what happened is Sam cut off my mic.
So you didn't get a cup of wassail?
I did not get a cup of wassail.
I would like to have known that, because if there was wassail around here, I would have been all about it.
I didn't get. Yeah. Why do they put bread, toast?
I don't know.
Soggy
So
bread.
a lot of these historic beers for the wintertime, the spiced beers that were considered either medicinal or nutrient based. So basically, it was a way of getting all of your nutrients in liquid form very quickly, very easily, and very inexpensively. So I think that's the idea behind it. But honestly, it's warm. It heats you up. It keeps you from getting gangrene or getting frostbite. That sort of thing.
You know what this beer needs? Toast.
Tell me you haven't thought of that sometimes. I'm like, you know what I really want now? Toast.
I can honestly tell you that I have never thought my beer needed toast.
I am at some point in time going to try doing a mulled beer and throwing bread in it.
Of course you are.
Because
Absolutely.
it's a thing. It's a thing. It really was a thing in like the 17th and 18th century. So
crazy.
So we need a toaster for the studio now, is what you're saying.
And a hot plate to heat up the beer.
Well, either or a hot plate or what's the crock pot? Yes, the crock pot to heat. I really thought about bringing a crock pot in here and making Mulled Creek, but I don't know. Just that sort of thing. Bringing it into a commercial environment, the heat source.
You don't
and all
have
that
in
can
your car already?
I mean, I have a lot of
Brian
stuff.
got a crock pot full of wassail on the passenger seat.
I might. I'd have to check.
He doesn't do it when he's driving, but as soon as he stops, boom, wassail.
Well, I just said the crock pot.
I figured he had it loaded up and ready to go.
He might already have that.
Well,
Tim, do you keep a crock pot full of wassail in the car?
I do. I drop it like at 1680 at all times.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good idea.
Respect.
Man. I want to switch gears here a little bit and talk to Tim a little bit. First, I want to thank you, Tim, for the generous bid you made to the Catlanta art auction. For those that may have missed earlier shows, we worked together with a local Atlanta artist, Catlanta. He does very cool work. He's done a lot of murals around town. He's very big into craft beer. And he did us a painting with a theme of Georgia beer.
Yes.
We auctioned the original to raise a donation for the Giving Kitchen. 100% of proceeds from the auction sale went to the Giving Kitchen. And Tim, you were the highest bidder, man. You get this gorgeous piece of artwork, and we want to thank you for that.
I'm really excited, and I'm really excited that the Giving Kitchen also benefits from it too.
Absolutely, and Tim has offered to share this around different tap rooms around town, so more people can see this painting out there. So if you have a bar or a brew pub or something or a brewery that you might like to show this and kind of spread the word of the Giving Kitchen, just drop us a line. beerguys@beerguysradio.com, and we'll hook you guys up to make this happen.
So the art is going on tour now.
We're working on that, man. We're working on that. But we also sold some prints online.
Yes.
We did 25 signed and numbered prints. They sold out in like 3 hours. We didn't even get a chance to actually post them online that we had them for sale. The word got out there. Someone else posted it, and they just sold out instantly. We've had a few people ask us to do a second run, and we just want to make it clear right now that we will not be doing that. That we said they were going to be a limited run of 25 prints. That's where it's going to stay. We may do another painting in the future and do this again, but this is it. The ones that are out there, that's it. There's one original and 25 prints. And so, Tim, thanks. Enjoy the artwork. We really appreciate it. And thanks for joining us tonight to drink some Christmas beers.
Absolutely. I feel festive.
It's been quite we've been very festive here.
Festive. Yeah.
So speaking of festive, Brian, so we had a few more beers. We drank Samichlaus, that I believe it's just called a what is the name on that? Schwarzes, right?
Yeah.
Samichlaus Schwarzes.
It's a Doppelbock, but it's the dark version of it.
Okay.
I meant to bring the original, but I grabbed the wrong bottle.
Okay. We also got in the Hendrik Xmas blend.
Yes.
We had that one. We had the St. Bernardus. What do they officially call Christmas Ale, correct?
Ale, yeah.
St. Bernardus Christmas Ale, and a little coming back around to this side of the Atlantic, we did Hardywood's Gingerbread Stout.
We did, yeah.
So out of those for y'all, Tim, what was your favorite out of those?
No, the Ginger Stout. The Ginger Stout.
That was tasty.
Yeah, it followed up really easily.
That's a really tasty beer. Very excellent beer, man.
Yeah, the Ginger Stout for me was the favorite of those four.
Smalls, how about you?
I like the gingerbread stout. That was tasty.
That was the one in there, huh? And we just sampled not part of our 12 beers, a bonus beer.
Yes.
It's like the stocking stuffer.
That's right.
Smalls brought in one of her home brews.
That's like the coal in her stocking.
The coal in the It's not coal. It's not coal.
We have all been bad this year.
Right.
We got some
it's
of her
at least
homebrew.
like an orange or a piece of fruit in your stocking.
Okay.
So it was up to that level.
It's the tangerine in the toe.
Yes, yeah. Oh, no. So it's not the Lifesaver storybook. No.
Oh, come on, the Lifesaver story looks good.
It's I'm saying it's good. I'm all in favor.
It's like the beer on the shelf, like the elf on the shelf.
If there was a beer on the shelf, I would be all on that.
The beer is watching you all the time.
The beer is welcome to watch me.
No, but Smalls, it was tasty beer. Coconut porter or stout?
It was supposed to be a coconut stout, and I do brew in a bag because I don't have the full setup yet for all grains. So this is my experimentation, and it's been about 2 years since I brewed.
Now, Brian, we are going to give our ratings for these beers that we've been drinking. We did the 12 beers at Christmas.
All 12, yes.
We did, plus the stocking stuffer. We all gave our top 5. We tabulated the results. We gave points. This is the collective top 5, Brian. This is the important stuff. This is where the magic happens, Brian.
This is where the magic happens.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So in the number 5 spot, we have the Stout Hendrik Christmas Blend. And I'll just throw out there that I did bring the score down.
You did, and I hate you for it.
It didn't make my top 5
it
at
was
all,
delightful.
but I think it made everyone else's. I didn't. It was a little too light and thin for me. But I think everybody else commented they got a lot of nice barrel notes in it.
A lot of interesting, complex barrel notes and various beverage characters that come into that. So
okay, all right. Tied for, I guess it would be the 3rd spot, the 4th and 3rd. Tie on this, we have the Gouden Carolus and the Hardywood Gingerbread Stout. So both very tasty beers. I think they made everyone's list.
I think so. And it's nice to notice the Hardywood Park Gingerbread Stout is the only stout or milk stout that's in the entire running, and it made the top 5.
Very interesting. Yeah. And then our number 1 beers, we say beers because these both scored a collective 20 points from the 5 of us. We let Sam vote. We don't give Sam a mic, but we'll let him vote.
This is what happens when we let him vote.
But the ones that are tied for that are the Barrel of Monks Father Christmas and the Samichlaus Schwarzes. And those were both, and we both, Tim, you and I talked about the difference in the Barrel of Monks and the Samichlaus and just why we each chose that. So why did the Barrel of Monks take your number 1 spot?
I mean, it was Grandma's kitchen eating gingerbread cookies.
Can't argue that, man. It did taste like a glass of Christmas, didn't it?
It really was fantastic. It's seriously very good.
Now, I'll tell you, Samichlaus was not my number 1. And that was one, that we both love those beers, but different spots for us. Samichlaus is malty. It's got a little of the aged hops toffee in that, which in certain beers may be off-putting. In this, it's phenomenal. I want a nice leather chair. I want a hand-knitted blanket wrapped up around me. I want a nice glass of this beer, maybe even a cigar, Brian. I want to have
a cigar.
And a big old fireplace. My dog laying at my feet, some soft music going, and at least 6 or 12 bottles of that beer.
So have Alexa order those things for you.
Alexa, get on that. So, but yeah, so that's where that one landed for me. Smalls, what hit your number 1?
It was Barrel of Monks.
It was the Barrel of Monks.
Yeah.
And why was that one your number 1 beer?
Again, as Tim said, it was like Christmas. It wasn't, the spices were there. It was well balanced. I really enjoyed drinking it. And it was one of those ones I would drink several glasses of.
Okay.
Not just a sip, just several glasses of it. I really enjoyed it.
Can't argue with that. Brian, what hit number 1? The Stout Hendrik?
No, actually the Samichlaus, the Schwarzes.
Okay.
I really, really liked that. The Stout Hendrik Christmas Blend hit number 2. I really enjoyed the interesting things going on there. I get that it might have been a little on the lighter side for some people expecting
that was my thing.
Bigger
right.
things.
I wanted a little more oomph to it.
The flavor there, the variety of flavor, it was intriguing, and I think maybe I lost track of the fact that this is a Christmas beer show, but I could not give it a good rating.
It did it for you. Okay, and Sam, Gingerbread Stout hit your number 1, is that right? So, and again, a great choice. That's a phenomenal beer. That's our top 5. That's our 12 beers at Christmas, Brian.
That's it. Yeah,
we did it. We made it through.
We survived.
So, yes, yeah, we did survive. Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show. We had a lot of fun talking Christmas beers with you. For more craft beer info, follow us online. We are Beer Guys Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks again for tuning in. Have a great week, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers.
The Beer Guys Radio Show on the Beer Guys Radio Network. BeerGuysRadio.com.